Do you like my outfit?
Yes. Very business-like.
Thanks. Yay, it's you! Good to see you again. It's been a little bit of a sewing frenzy around here. Let's just say I'm either sewing, recovering from sewing, or thinking about the next time I'm gonna sew. Here's where we left off. I was working on the tucks on the skirt. Next steps, we're going to attach the skirt overlay to the front of the skirt, sew the whole skirt together. We're also gonna make a belt. My first belt. My personal preference is for va-va-voom. I don't want a droopy daisy. I want a fire gazer tiger lily. Come on, flower folks. What's the name of my wedding flower? In order to accomplish that goal, I'm thinking about adding interfacing. I don't know if my girl's gonna be strong enough to sew through all these tucks. Look how thick that is. This is just a basting stitch, so we're at our longest stitch. Put my presser foot pressure to 0. I'm not expecting this to go well. Did we get all the way through? Wow. She's stronger than she looks. I did my basting stitch to connect the top skirt overlay to the front of the skirt. And then I start aligning my notches to sew the side seams. And the notches are about this far apart from each other. And I'm wondering, why aren't they lining up? What's going on? And it clicks that the only petite adjustment for the overlay was at the bottom hem. They didn't have one up higher like it did on the front and back skirt panels. So now I'm not sure if I want to align the notches or if I want to keep them as they are. And because I'm particular about how things gather, how they fall on the front of the body, I'm going to take this opportunity to pin them. And I'm going to use these really nice English pins that I got for free from a woman who no longer sews. Old flipperoo. I'm pinning 3 things instead of 2. It got a little confusing. Somebody pinned her garment together wrong. Oh my goodness, look it! So I want a more va-va-voom. This looks redonkulous. How do we like this length? We got the mullet look going on. Business in the front, party in the back. Setting that aside, this is what I want to take a look at. Just imagine that I did line up those notches there. Are you all seeing what I'm seeing? My first belt! A belt is kind of like a long scrunchie that doesn't stretch. How to sew straight. Let's get into it. This is my favorite tool for sewing straight lines. It's called a magnetic seam guide. I can put this seam guide right along the 5/8 inch line. The distance between here and here is 5/8. You can also use these to sew curved seams by turning it like this or like that. I hope that helps. Get yours today. Well, that's interesting. I'll get some curly cues. I'm making a belt today. It's just about as fun as scrunchies. Smush it. Smush it good. Smush it. And then what did you say? Squish it? And then you were the one who figured out, let's push it. And we're gonna flip it.
I'll flip it. Flip it good. Flip it real good.
The best hand sew is to do it in bed. If I told you I had a chance to hand sew in bed on a snow day, would that bring a smile to your face? I got the tools for the job, and that makes all the difference. I've got the right size needle. I've got a needle threader. Pins, matching thread, scissors, cheaters. Anything else? Good lighting. Wait, one more thing. A thimble. Let me know in the comments, what finger do you thimble on? Or maybe you sew in the nude. Which needle should I use? Let me try something. This needle has about the tiniest hole I've ever seen. Now I want to see if I could actually use the thread looper through here. Is it gonna fit? Oh my gosh, it fit. Okay, now. Oh my gosh, I did it. Check out my slip stitch. Pretty good, huh?
I'll stitch it. Stitch it good.
Before and after. Well, I sure got a lot done in bed. Let me show you one last trick. This is hard to explain. I think it's fairly common to start sewing at one side and going across this way. If I actually start sewing the lining in the center, this is the important part that we care about. I'm gonna have any extra fabric in the center here. Let me know in the comments if you do something similar, or maybe you have a better trick. It turns out I really enjoy hand sewing. Yay! What do we think? Is this how she's posed?
Get it, girl.
I do have some floofing open. This point here is too tight, so the lining is just actually pulling it out. This poof isn't quite right. Be able to just fiddle around with that and get that to be a little flatter. I think a lot of it is the type of fabric that I'm working with. I think we're looking good. Pinking is a perfectly acceptable way to finish your seams. Having a little trouble getting my thoughts organized. I think it's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. Invisible. So this is fun and terrifying. All I'm doing is cutting 5 1/2. In this episode of What the Heck Went Wrong, what is the deal with this? Let's check our notches. And my notch for the back is down here. It gives us about 1/2 inch of explanation. And this is about over 1 inch long. So that's not the whole explanation. Should we fix it? Or should we try it on and see how it looks? I already ripped my fabric. Guess what I've been doing? Rip it, rip it. This is what a basting stitch looks like. We use a longer stitch because that's easier to pick out. I'm having quite a bit of trouble because these stitches are much closer together and much smaller. It's difficult at best and it's damaging my fabric at worst. I might need to abandon this ship. But it's so frustrating because I got this far. Why did I bother to unrip all those if I don't go the last 8 inches? What do you use to seam rip? Let me know in the comments. I want to be nice to my thumbs. Can you help me with this? I'm trying to do this zipper since yesterday.
Whatever. I'm just kidding.
Good one. Zip it. Zip it good. Zip it real good. Zip it. Yes. Check out my live stream to learn more about invisible and concealed zippers. Do not wear clothing underneath a garment before attaching the lining. It's because you need some slip. Help! Is that all I get? If you're new to sewing or you're just not a masochist, choose a fabric that's easier to work with. Because certain fabrics can make certain people go crazy. So I decided that I do need to line the skirt. This lining is getting connected wrong side to wrong side. And then get the bodice tucked out of the way completely. And now this is just going to be stitching these guys together in the seam allowance. That was tough, but I did it. Getting back to the floofiness of this, it's just kind of tugging.
Problem solved.
I'm realizing that the attachment for the poof is already starting to come unthreaded. What can I do? Well, we've already got a line of stitching here. How about I just stitch through one more layer and attach the bow all along here so that it's not just pulling on a handful of threads. Place your bets now. Is this going to be enough bobbin thread? Let me try to get at least the zipper tape out of the way. Look what I just did with my last scraps of bobbin thread.
That's a good looking slip stitch.
We're mixing it up with this outfit. Forget a scrunchie. How about a vintage hat? Write some maxi piping. Who needs you? I can do it myself. All right, you're really gonna be wanting to push your piping over because it wants to go this way because the needle is pressing against it. And pivot. Oh my gosh, I can pipe like a boss. I just won the blue ribbon in DIY piping. Let's flip this back, press it, and notch it. Wow. Did I sew this backwards? Gertie's walking me through step by step. This is the most awaited flipperoo ever. Wow. Looks like this is gonna be our edge stitch. Edge stitch my lining. You wanna be done and you still got a hem. Not bad, not bad. Let's roll this hem. So I fold it over once, fold it over again to get it started. Let's start rolling. It's gonna come up through this little curly cue here. It's gonna need just the right amount of tension pulling on it. Let's see what we can do.
Roll that ham, baby.
We're ready for the final reveal. Thank you so much for watching. Do you like how Butterick 5880 turned out? How about the Scout hat? You can see the whole playlist here, and you might like one of these videos as well. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and happy sewing!